And then when we get into Algebra 2 and Pre-Calc, we will go over recursive formulas quite a bit more. But how you use a recursive formula is you use a recursive formula to find the nth term of a sequence by performing operations to one or more of the preceding terms. So if you look at this, a sub 1, remember, this means my first term. So that means I'm starting with 2. Okay. Now what this means when it says a sub n, okay, equals a sub n minus 1 plus 2, this means you take the first term, and what does it say I do to it? I add 2. So the first term is 2, right? You add 2 to that and you get 4. So now instead of the first term, I'm going to now use the second term. And I'm going to take the second term in here. And what am I going to do to that? I'm going to add 2. So that makes 6. And then I'm going to take the third term, and I'm going to add 2, and I get 8. And then I'm going to take the fourth term, and I'm going to add 2, and I get 10. So you can see how the pattern evolves. You're basically just taking in whatever answer you get, plugging it back in, and you're doing what's called recursion.
Now it makes
So what
sense.
type of sequence is this?
Arithmetic.
Okay. When it says n is greater than or equal to 2, that just meant we started at 2. Okay. So it's going to be bigger then. You'll never get a negative number there. So let's go ahead and look at this. It says find the first 5 terms of the sequence. So now remember what I said. Okay. What is my first term?
16.
Because that's what this tells me. So I'm going to start with 16. So now in here, I'm going to take the first term here. And what are you going to do to that? Subtract 3. So if I take the first term and minus 3, I get 13. Now what I'm going to do is instead of the first term, I'm going to take the second term, and I'm going to subtract 3. And I get 10.
This isn't that hard.
What do I get next?
7
and then
4.
4. That is the first 5 terms, and that's all you do. Okay, that's what recursive definitions look like. Yes?
What is the n is greater than or equal to 2?
That just means your term is greater than or equal to 2. And so in order to apply this formula, n has to be bigger than or equal to 2. You can't do it with a negative number. And n just means the number of the term. So the first term is 16, which they give us here, and then I start with the second term. So that's what n is. And then the third term, fourth term, fifth term. Yeah.
Will the directions say like how far to go?
Yep. So this one's by the first 5 terms. I want you to try it here. We'll see how you do on this one. This one's a little trickier. So I just want you to find the next term. Because what's my first term going to be?
20.
No, what's my first term going to be?
Five.
Negative 5. So I want you to try and find the second term. We'll just see how you do. So just write down the second term. That's what I'm looking for right now.
Will we ever do anything with the n minus 1?
That means the previous term. When it says a sub n, that's the term you're trying to find. A sub n minus 1 says take that previous term. So that's what that n minus 1 is. So it's saying like if this is the third term, this would be the 3 minus 1, that'd be the second term. So. Alrighty, so is your answer positive or negative?
Negative.
It's negative.
Yes.
Okay, now this is what we do. Remember, I'm going to put my first term right here. So according to what this says, I'm going to take 4 times negative 5, and then I'm going to add 10. So my second term should be negative 10. So now to find the third term, in place of negative 5, what am I going to put? I'm going to put negative 10 in here. So 4 times negative 10 plus 10 is negative 30. So in place of negative 10, I'm now going to put negative 30. So 4 times negative 30.
Negative 120.
Negative 120 plus 10 is negative 110. And then right here, negative 110. So my answer will be negative
430.
430. There you go. So you just keep plugging it in.
430 is
All right, we have 2 more types of problems, and that's this one right here. Okay, so write a recursive formula. So we're going to look at the very basics of this. So we always, on the recursive formula, we always have what?
A1.
We always have the first term. So I'm going to start with A1. A sub 1 equals, what's the first term equal? 1. So now what I want you to do is I want you to look at that sequence, and I want you to tell me, what do I do every time? You add 5. It's what type of sequence?
Arithmetic.
Arithmetic. So now my formula is going to look something like this, and this is the form it takes. Okay. So now, can somebody tell me what you think I'm going to add here? Where?
After
I'm just going to add 5 right here, and that's it. That's all you're going to do. Okay, it will have 2 parts. It's got to have this first part, and it's got to have this second part. So what I want you to do, I want you to look at this one, and I want you to just tell me what you think you're going to do there. So go ahead, write it down real quick, and then we'll look at what you get. So, biggest thing, you need to look at 4, 12, 36, and 108. And you need to say, what do you do to one to get the other? Okay, what do you do to one to get the other? All right. Somebody in this group. You got the first one. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and have the very first line of what everybody should have. Perfect. Now hand off to somebody else. Okay. It doesn't matter. You can hand off to anybody.
Okay, here you go. Have it.
All right, so let's see what your second part looks like. Do you have it written down?
Yeah.
Under all that tape, there's a problem.
8, 7, minus 1. It's exactly right. So you won't use the 4 though. A sub n, yep, equals. Oh. Okay, so now that's what you should have on the right side. Don't forget to put A sub n equals. Okay, but there you go. It's a geometric sequence. You're multiplying by 3 every time. Now there is another way you could have written that if you wanted. You could have written it this way, and some of you might have done that. Okay, and that's fine. So let's go ahead and look at your book real quick. Your assignment is as follows on page 448, 10 through 21. I need you to turn in your book right now so that we can talk a little bit about a few of your problems. Okay, on page 448, we are looking at the section 16 through 21. So page 448, we are looking at 16 through 21. The instructions there are to write a recursive formula for each sequence, which is exactly what we ended with today. Okay, I will tell you that on 19, 20, and 21, those are geometric sequences. Now, they might not look like them right away, but they are geometric sequences. So what you're going to need to do, if you can't figure out what you multiply by, you take the second term divided by the first. And I will tell you that some of those are decimals. Okay, I will tell you that number 19 and number 20 are decimals. Okay, 21, you probably should answer that one as a fraction. Okay, but that's what you need to do for me today. Okay, 10 through 21. For tomorrow, test will be Thursday.